To start off the snakes segment, we're joined with Jeremy Stewart from Swan Security. Why? Why are we talking to Jeremy? Well, Jeremy put on his Facebook the most amazing photos, which we're going to try and get up on our website, of, well, you describe it, Jeremy. Jeremy Stewart, good afternoon.
Hi, Darren. How are you?
Yeah, where were you and what happened?
Holidaying on Phillip Island. We went for a leisurely stroll up to Cape Ormai, the peak there, and one of the other walkers who was sort of joined us or walked past us as we were heading up to the peak said, "Watch out, there's a snake up ahead that's eating another snake."
Eating another snake?
Eating another snake. So it was about 300 or 400 metres up the pathway.
Yeah.
And there it was, a copperhead snake eating another snake. It was amazing.
Was the other snake a copperhead?
I'm not sure. It doesn't look to be the same breed. It looks darker. I think it might be a black snake, but
Right.
Certainly the one that's doing the eating is a copperhead.
Yeah.
So we wonder if the second one is a black snake. But certainly amazing, and we were all freaked out. There were 4 adults there and 7 kids, and we were all pretty freaked out, Darren.
Well, a man, stick with us, Jeremy, a man who spends his time catching snakes. He's the best in Victoria, and he loves them. He is a reptile. He appreciates what they do and who they are, and he looks after them. And his name's Barry Goldsmith. Barry, nothing but good words about you, my friend, and thanks for joining us this afternoon. What's happened with this copperhead eating another snake? Is this quite common?
Yeah, hey Darren, hey Jeremy. The copperhead the copperhead that you saw eating the other snake was a copperhead as well. As on Phillip Island, we only have one species of snake, and that is the copperhead snake. Copperheads can be really dark, and they can be really light tan colour as well. I've had them come up as orange and tan, and they're very variable in their colours. So people often confuse them with red-bellied black snakes, and they often confuse them with brown snakes. But on Phillip Island, that's the only species we have.
Oh, interesting. Why would that be? Is it just that they were introduced by someone at some stage because it's an island?
The copperheads, there probably would be tiger snakes on the island, but the copperheads are specialised snake eaters. So if there was ever any tiger snakes on the island, they have probably been breakfast for the copperheads. There's quite a lot on the island, so there's really no room for the tigers.
Yeah, fascinating. Jeremy, thanks for joining us. Don't go anywhere, though, Barry. We've got a lot of snake stuff to talk about. Hey, Jeremy, also, you're about to head to Vegas. When do you go there?
Heading up on Sunday to the big CES trade show, Darren, so pretty excited about that.
That is the Consumer Electronics Show. It makes all the news. It's the latest and greatest, from TVs to gadgets to electronics. You go every year with Swan Security, and we're hoping to talk to you from there. Is that all right?
Yeah, look forward to it. Can't wait.
Good on you. Thanks, Jeremy. So, Barry, with the tiger snake, is that the most common snake around Melbourne?
It is one of the most common snakes around Melbourne. Where I am on the Mornington Peninsula, we get like half tiger snakes and half copperheads. Like if I do 200 calls a year, it'll be 100 of each, generally speaking.
Yeah, and all the snakes that we have here in Victoria, they're all venomous, aren't they?
They are all venomous. The copperhead and the black snake are not as toxic as the tiger snake and the eastern brown snake. Plus, the copperhead and the black snake are both specialised snake eaters. So if you have a black or a copperhead on your property, they're actually your friends. You've got to sort of look after them, because if you get rid of them, then you're opening up the area for a tiger snake.
Oh, right.
A lot more toxic. They've got a bad reputation for aggressive behaviour and things like that, but they're not that bad. There's a lot of myth around them, so you have to take everything you hear with a grain of salt.
Yeah, and did you see the front page of the paper today, The Age? Tiger snake attacks stir anti-venom controversy. A story about how a man tragically died, I think it was in Gippsland a few years ago, a 27-year-old. He was weeding, bitten by a tiger snake, and there's the stories about how much anti-venom to give. Are you up on all that?
No, I'm not really up on it, but I do know that there's a theory around that we don't need to give any more than one vial of anti-venom for a tiger snake bite, but I don't believe it myself. If somebody's showing symptoms after having a vial of anti-venom, then you would give them another one, and don't hesitate. I think that's that just goes without saying. I really don't understand why they would limit it to one vial.
Yeah.
And also, the word attack and snake, they don't really go together. Snakes only defend themselves. So if the guy was weeding in the garden, he must have scared the snake to cause it to bite in defence. They're not like we're not on their menu, so they've got no reason to attack us. The only time people ever get bitten by snakes is if they scare them or if they hurt them.
Yeah, exactly. A mate of mine lives by the Yarra inner city. He had one in his garage, one that had come up from the river. Is that unusual?
No. On hot days, you got the cool floor of the garage.
Yeah.
And snakes often come into garages. If you're going to leave your garage open, it's like an open invitation for a snake to come in and cool his belly on your cold floor.
Yeah. Apparently the one that he got was caught, and it was a 1.2 metre 3-year-old male. How much venom would they be packing?
At 1.2 metres, he's probably older than 3 years. And how much venom would they be packing? They'd be packing enough to give you a very bad day.
Yeah.
If you got bitten by a tiger snake, whether it be a little tiger snake or a larger one, like I've had them up to 1.5 metres, you have to apply the pressure bandage, you have to stay perfectly still, and you have to get the ambulance to come to you. So that's the three big things you've got to remember.
Oh, is that right?
Staying perfectly still and getting help to come to you. Don't walk back up out of the a valley or something like that. You've got to wait for the ambulance to come to you.
Gee, they're that bad. Unbelievable. And it's a blood coagulating thing, isn't it? That's what the poison does.
It does. And it's also a neurotoxin too, so it affects your nervous system. It shuts down your muscles. It can, it can give you lockjaw. It can give you, it can affect your eyesight and all sorts of other things. And if you don't get it in time, you can have problems with your kidneys and other things. But in saying that, nobody has ever died after a snake bite if they've used the right snake bite protocol.
Yeah.
Which pretty much everybody in Australia should be up to date with. It's fairly basic, and it can be found on the internet if you go to the venom supply places. They've got good up-to-date information.
Yeah. Oh, good stuff. Now, you got another couple of minutes for us, Barry?
Yeah, I'm in between snake calls at the moment, but sure, we can do a couple more minutes.
Oh, great. How many snakes have you caught today?
3. I've caught 1 copperhead and 2 tiger snakes.
How big?
Big. I didn't measure them, but they're all good size.
Yeah?
They're all adults, yeah.
Whereabouts?
Where was the last one? The copperhead I caught was in a front garden in Frankston.
Yeah.
The tiger snake was at Flinders, in a garage too, actually.
Yeah.
And another tiger snake that was caught in a kitchen in Langwarrin.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, it's like if you live on a rural property and if you see a snake, it's a little bit silly to call me just because you've seen a snake out in the paddock or a horse paddock, like lots of people often do. Ideally, you want to be looking at the snake when I get there, and if it's inside your house, that's an emergency situation. So I can always have somebody at the property within like half an hour max. So
yeah. Well, that's what my mate did. He had to stare it down. He reckons he was standing there for about half an hour, 40 minutes, just staring at this thing in his garage.
Yeah, that's it. If you're watching the snake, he's probably going to stay perfectly still. It's when you take your eyes off the snake, when you go to get a beer or a cuppa, that's when the snake sees that you're not watching, and that's when he does a runner, and that makes it very hard for me to catch the snake once he's lost sight of it.
Yeah, we're getting a couple of calls too. Thanks, Barry. Hold there. It's 2:19. Yes, and we're with Barry Goldsmith, legendary snake catcher. And Barry, a mate of yours, has emailed me. His name's Mick, and he says, Barry Goldsmith is a great bloke. Everyone will call and want to know what snake they've seen, and they will say that snakes chase them, and Barry will roll his eyes. Is that right?
That's true, yeah.
Do you know Mick?
Well, I know a few Micks.
You know a few Micks?
I'm not sure exactly which one it is.
Okay. Gwen has called through. Hi, Gwen.
Hello, Darren. Just a little quick one. My son has a lovely budgie called Gonzo. He lives in Queensland, and each day they put him in a bottomless cage out on the grass.
Mm-hmm.
And last week he forgot to go and bring Gonzo in early enough. He went out in the dark and lifted up the cage, and there was something hanging from it. And it happened to be a snake, and no Gonzo, and he probably wrongly dispatched the snake very quickly and turfed it into the fire pit in disgust at himself for forgetting and for the snake as well. Anyway, later on he thought, I can't let Gonzo die like that, so he went down and got the snake, and it's nasty. He opened it up and got Gonzo out.
Oh.
So he could bury his poor little bird properly.
Wow.
And he was very, very sad.
What can I say? Poor Gonzo. And well, in the end, the poor snake. Have you heard a story like that before, Barry?
Well, I don't know how many times I've had to go out and get snakes out of bird aviaries and bird cages. Once they get into the bird cage, they usually are trapped in there because the bulbs from the bird will stop them from getting out.
Ah, right.
And, they're just, tiger snakes especially, their natural food is birds. And so they're always attracted to those short little sharp movements that birds and Gonzo and other birds make. And they make their way into the cages, they scoff the bird, and then they are stuck there. They're waiting for me to come. Unfortunately, this one was killed, and if you're in Queensland, it probably was a brown snake, I would imagine.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Barry, apparently you were only 8 when you caught your first tiger snake on the Rosebud Golf Course. Is that right? Your dad was a golfer?
Wow, you've done some research. Yeah. I was, about 8 years old when I caught my dad was playing golf. He used to turn me loose with the bug catcher in the swamp across the road. He never expected me to catch snakes. He thought I was just catching skinks and frogs. I was a weird kid. I would much prefer to have a bug catcher than a toy car to play with.
Yeah.
I had a baby copperhead in a bug catcher when I was 8 years old, and I brought it home. My dad used to encourage me. He probably used to think I was going to grow up to be some sort of famous biologist or botanist, or he used to sit down and we'd watch Jacques Cousteau and Harry Butler and all those sort of things.
Yeah.
And but unfortunately, got the grotty old snake catcher, but that's okay. I love my job.
Yeah, exactly, and you do a great job too. Grace has called through. Hi, Grace.
Hello, Darren. Happy New Year.
You too.
My mum and dad came over from overseas at one stage, 1977. And we took them down Mount Beauty near the little lake. And all of a sudden, my dad appeared with this flaming snake around the stick. And my ex at the time was screaming at him, drop him. He said, no. He said, back home, they've got no poison. He said, but we know they're back home.
And we're not back home. And what did he caught? A brown snake or something?
He caught a little snake on the stick. It was little yellow, but it was a small one. Okay.
And it didn't bite him at all?
No, and then all of a sudden, my mum caught another one.
It's mad. Good on you, Grace. Thanks for the call. They're all venomous over here, and including, Barry, the inland taipan. Now, that's the most venomous snake in the world, isn't it?
Certainly is. It hasn't killed anybody yet because they live in cracks in the ground in the middle of nowhere. So there's no real records of an inland taipan ever killing anybody. But yes, they have the most toxic venom of all of the land snakes.
Yeah.
And but the most dangerous snake in Australia is the eastern brown snake because it lives right up close to houses, and its main food item is rats and mice. And wherever you have people, you usually have rats and mice.
Yeah. Wow. Steve, good afternoon.
Oh, g'day. How are you?
G'day, Steve.
As you guys are talking about this, I've got my beautiful little girl curled up in the bed next to me.
And what's your little girl, Steve?
3.65 metre python.
What's her name?
Fluffy.
Muffy.
Fluffy.
Fluffy. You'd appreciate that, Barry, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, I love a snake called Fluffy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a Bataki ham coming for you and Fluffy, Steve, and cuddle up nice and tight because we'll get your details. Robert, good afternoon.
Yeah, Darren, I got a bit of a snake tail. This was a couple of years ago, but Damien and myself were out the back of Odeon with the metal detector, and we were camping out, and anyway, he went to do his business that night, and he come a scream, he come hobbling in with his pants around his ankles and everything. He said, I've been bitten on the rear by a snake. I said, oh, God, straight me lucky. I don't know what to do. So I had the mobile phone, so I rang the doctor. and got onto him. And I said, "Look, what'll I do? What'll I do?" He said, "Well, look, there's only one thing to do that'll save you. You've got to suck the venom out."
Yeah.
And I said, "Hold on." I said, "What'll happen if I don't?" He said, "You'll die." So Derek, my mate, said, "What's going to happen? What's going to happen?" I said, "You're going to die, pal."
I know that gag.
It's an oldie but a classic.
It's an oldie but a classic. Out in the desert and the Flying Doctor, and it's another part of the anatomy, actually, from the gag I know. But thanks, Robert, for the call. Sorry you're going to die. Wendy, good afternoon. Are you there, Wendy? No, Wendy's gone. So we don't suck out poison, do we, Barry? And the old...
No, the old days of the cut and suck are long gone.
They're long gone, and there's no such thing as a tourniquet. It's just a pressure bandage around the bite area.
Yeah, the tourniquet, just a pressure bandage. It doesn't have to be real tight because you only have to compress the area. You don't have to cut off the blood. What you're doing is compressing the lymphatic liquid, which is just underneath the skin. So it doesn't have to be real tight. Lots of people, when they put the pressure bandage on, they put them on way too tight and it cuts off the circulation to their fingers or their toes. And if you go into hospital, they might make you wait for hours before they release the pressure of the bandage. And by that time, your fingers and toes are well purple.
Yeah, yeah. And how many people do get bitten, do you reckon, every year?
I heard that there's about 3,000 people appear at hospital with snake bites. A lot of them are obviously non-venomous snakes and spider bites and things like that. So the people envenomated, I think it works out to maybe about 200, and a lot of them get away with it pretty well.
Yeah.
So pretty much an average, maybe one person might die a year, I think, from memory, from a snake bite.
Yeah, and I'll ask the question that no doubt everyone would ask you when you come to collect a snake. How close have you got to have been bitten?
I come close every day, really, but I've been very lucky. I haven't had any major situations where I've been bitten, so it's been very good.
I reckon another obvious question that people would ask you: what's the biggest one you've ever caught?
Oh, right. Well, I've spent a lot of time in Indonesia too, so we're talking 3 and 4 metre king cobras and 6 metre reticulated pythons. But here in Melbourne, I caught a 3 metre olive python that had escaped from somebody's private collection.
Right.
And it was in the sex shop in Frankston. And it spent the night rolling around in the sex shop, knocking all the videos and all the goodies off the shelf. When we got there was a big mess, and there was a big snake right in the middle of it.
That was the trouser python, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I think he had delusions of grandeur.
Oh, what a story! What's the biggest tiger you've ever caught?
That would be about 5 foot. I think it was about 1.5 metres.
Ooh.
1.6 metres. Yeah, there is some big, heavy tigers. The one I caught today was a good size. It was probably knocking on 5 feet.
Yeah, yeah. And also, I've heard that tigers are sort of the good old general all-rounders. Like, they can swim, but they don't specialise in swimming. They can climb, but they're not the best climbers. And they're the sort of all-rounders that are a good all-round snake, but don't specialise in anything.
Tiger snakes are really good climbers.
Are they?
Okay. And they're really good swimmers. Like all snakes. All snakes can swim really well.
Yeah.
But tiger snakes, before Europeans came here, the tiger snake's main food was birds. So the Europeans came with their mice and their rats, and now they seem to feast on rats and mice. But back in the old days, they would go into a nest, they'd knock off the parent birds and suck up all the fledglings, all the baby birds.
Oh, gee.
And then they'd live in the nest. I've caught quite a few tigers in birds' nests, and after having eaten the fledglings, and then I've looked down on the ground, the two adults are on the ground. He didn't bother trying to eat them, he just killed them, dropped them, and then he was free to have dinner at leisure.
Yeah,
and now they do the same thing with rats. Quite often I'll go over to a place and the tiger snake has killed mum and dad rat, and he's proceeded to hoover up maybe 30 or 40 baby rats. So having one tiger snake in a barn or on your property, a rural property, will be responsible for a huge population of rats being eaten too.
Yeah, interesting. John has called through with a quick question for you here, Barry.
Yep.
Hello.
Yeah, g'day, John.
G'day. This is the Dandenong Rangers, and we've got a population of about 5 or 6 kookaburras that we feed. Is that likely to diminish our snake problem?
Okay. Well, kookaburras eat snakes and they eat blue tongues. They love reptiles to eat. Having any meat-eating birds, like crows and ravens and magpies, they all eat baby snakes. They're sort of like your first line of defence. If you want to attract meat-eating birds to your property, you can have them sitting around the eaves of your house, and they'll be picking up all the baby snakes as they show up. Also, water birds like ibis and herons and egrets, they all eat snakes as well. Birds are the snake's main predator.
Yeah.
Hawks and eagles, of course. Owls. So you've got to be careful when you're using poisons, because if you're poisoning the rats and the mice, you're killing off the birds at the same time, and you're also decreasing your first line of defence against the snake.
Yeah.
So it's a vicious circle. So if you're going to be killing rodents, I'd advise using traps as opposed to poisons, because when an owl takes a poisoned rat back to his nest, that's the end of that family of owls.
See you later. Yeah, terrible. What do you charge, Barry, to come out and get a snake?
It depends. It depends on how much I like you. It depends on a whole bunch of different things. Usually it's between $100 and $200,
Yeah,
depending on how much time.
Worth.
People balk at paying it. They say, why should I have to pay that? I'm like, well, no, I am dealing with the most toxic animals on the planet.
Yeah.
And then I have to take snakes away from their house.
My mate that had the snake catcher come out, he said it was worth every cent and would have been, I think, cost him $200 and he would have been happy to pay $4.
I know, I always hear that after I get the $200, unfortunately.
Hey, Barry, I'm with Mick. I reckon you're a top bloke, and thanks for spending some time with us today. So far, you've caught 3. Do you reckon there'll be any more calls today?
Oh, they will. It depends. If people want to contact me, they can get onto me through Facebook, like Snake Catcher Victoria Australia, or they can go to my website, snakecatchervictoria.com.au, or they can just ring me. I hope you don't mind.
No.
0408
Yeah.
067 062.
Good on you, Barry. Great work. Thanks for joining us for our snake half hour. Normally we talk TV. Apparently there's a few snakes that work in the TV industry as well, Tony Tardia.
They'd be full of them too.